Hi, I'm Randy Van Wagner, president of Mohawk Valley Community College, and I'm here with Kristen Skobla, who began working at the college in 2011 as the coordinator of workforce development. A few years later, moved into the director of workforce development position, and since 2018, she's been the executive director for the Center for Leadership Excellence in partnership with Leadership Mohawk Valley here at MVCC. So Kristen, thanks so much for helping MVCC celebrate 75 years.
Oh, it's my honor to do so. Thank you.
Very good. So go back to 2011 or whenever and tell me the story about how you came to work at MVCC.
Sure. Well, in my early career, I had the privilege of working with the Workforce Development Board in Oneida County Workforce Development, and love my workforce development roots. And eventually I had the opportunity to come into that coordinator of workforce development role. Really allowed me to get right back to those roots and with trainings and really helping to build up our workforce, which I absolutely loved. I was able to still maintain working with people like Alice Savino and David Mathis and all of those great contacts and build up those relationships. So for me, when I came to MVCC, it was like coming home. It was beautiful.
So over the course of 10 years, I'm sure you have, you built a fair number of memories. And what memories maybe characterize or symbolize what MVCC means to you, or and/or memories that will likely stay with you for one reason or another?
Sure. It's interesting because having been born and raised in this area, in the Utica area, I really tried to think back of what my first MVCC memory was at all. And I realized that it's always just been part of my life. It's like this fabric of our community. And I just always remember that we always knew someone in the family that was going to MVCC, or people were attending events in MVCC. And so the college has just always been a part of my life. And the memories that I think of are so many things that are centered around students and the opportunity that I've had in these workforce development training programs to see people who came in facing some barriers, and then just watching them fly through these programs and then decide to turn a training program into an actual degree, and they wanted to further their education. And so I've always loved watching people. Those are my greatest memories. And even within our classes, watching the students help one another. I remember working with a student who came in and English was her second language. And I had another student enrolled in a CNA class. And she said, "Don't worry, I can translate for you." And she said, "That was me a couple of years ago. I came into the college, learning English. And now look at me, I'm taking the CNA training program. I'm going to transition eventually. My goal is to be in the nursing program." And so to watch the students even help one another, those are my greatest memories about working at the college. I absolutely love that.
Great. And then have you, you've had several, I'm sure it hasn't always been easy, and you've got, whether it's working with colleagues when you've got deadlines to meet, or you've attended so many events at the college throughout your years. Are there any events maybe that stand out for you, that events or I guess just the colleague stories of rallying the team, the sense of teamwork that I know you talk a lot about?
Oh, absolutely. There's so many times we're working with different organizations and community members, and again, we're this place of yes. And so we get really excited when somebody says, "Hey, we want this new initiative for our staff," or we'd love to give them this new skill set. And I would get so excited and I would say, "Yes, absolutely." Knowing that I could turn around and say to my colleagues in the STEM department, "They just asked for this Lean or Six Sigma. I don't know what that means. Can you?" And they can then translate those technical skills. I think it's having so much faith in my colleagues and our team here. And there's such a vast amount of strengths at the college. Being the idea futuristic person, I know that I can turn around and say, I can reach out to my colleague in the business office or one of the academic departments and call on their contact strength or their activator strength to help me make all of these needs for the corporate community and our community members come true. And knowing that I have just so many people to depend on, and that I can call on the college who do not hesitate at all to help out. And it's just been amazing.
So maybe as an example of that, tell the story about, delivering leadership programming for the Center for Leadership Excellence, where we had innovation immersions that would bring teams from local businesses and nonprofits to in-person site visits. And you and your coordinator, Ellie Arno-Nuro, came up with the idea to go with bringing in go virtual, bring in national speakers coupled with local employers, but you needed a platform of some kind. You didn't want to just do it via Zoom. So what did you do and what did it look like?
Oh, our amazing marketing department. First of all, absolutely, to go back, that we were very excited that we could find a way to bring in national speakers and industry experts, so that we could pair that with the local stories. So we could have Ben and Jerry's, Zappos, big corporations like that tell their stories about how they're leading the way in dealing with disruption, but then bring in those local experts who are doing it on their own scale. And that really reverberated very well with all of our participants. As you said, they're from many organizations, which they loved. They loved being able to find what are human services doing that I can do in finance, and how do I readapt that? So that having that diverse learning consortium was amazing. And of course, when we wanted to offer it virtually, our marketing department, hey, we can do a CLE virtual training center, and they just immediately get it up and running. They build out the resources room so that not only are people benefiting from the training, but we could add additional readings and videos that they could later use and share with their team. And so they did not miss a beat. They really gave us a professional looking virtual training center and worked up with us until the very minute of launch for each session. And they've been absolutely amazing.
The Center for Leadership Excellence, could you talk a little bit about what Leadership Mohawk Valley and CLE and why it's at MVCC?
Absolutely. So several years ago, the college and some of our community partners, we were always talking about leadership and the gaps that exist within our community and quite frankly, all over the workforce, all over the world. And so really it became, we have this great organization, Leadership Mohawk Valley, and they're so deeply rooted in the community, and they have this great immersive training. And why don't we just pair up with them? And they were located within another college, and they were renting space there. But we really thought, let's draw on their roots, approach them, and see if they'd be interested in teaming up with the college, sharing resources and expertise. And with the support of Alicia Dix and her team at the Community Foundation, we all got together, the three entities being the Community Foundation, the college, and Leadership Mohawk Valley. And we said, you know what, we're more powerful together. So around 2016, we started designing and talking about what that would look like and what the priorities were. And once we decided that we could make this solid partnership and really have a huge impact together versus individually, we got together, we launched in 2018. And it really provided LMV with that additional support and those resources like marketing and grant writing and the human resources that they needed to really expand and take their Leadership Mohawk Valley program and really turn it into a full-blown center. And I know that their board has always been supportive, and our board continues to be supportive, but I think they were really excited because after decades of being able to have the successful LMV program, I really think seeing that vision and turning it into a robust center for the entire region, it was just a game changer, not only for them, for us, and the community at large.
And could you quickly run through the programs at CLE?
Absolutely.
And make just what each one is?
Sure. So we've really grown. So Leadership Mohawk Valley is very immersive, and that's about what is your legacy going to be? How do you want to leave your mark? What are all the challenges and opportunities that are happening in the Mohawk Valley? Really looking at them as change makers and saying, how do I now give back? I've seen all these amazing organizations and what they're doing. Can I serve on their board? Can I volunteer? So that's really LMV is about exploring the Mohawk Valley and its challenges and opportunities. We have Supervisors Institute, and that's really for people looking to hone their leadership skills because they're either about to move into a supervisory role or currently are in one. We have this thing I think that we do in the workforce is we train people really well. They get this great training or education, like something from MVCC. And we say, wow, you're so good at your job. Look, that technical skills, you rock it, you're amazing. we want to make you a team leader or a manager. It's just that nowhere along the way, as people have grown, have we deliberately given them the skill set to do that. And so that's really what Supervisors Institute is about, is how do you lead your team in a positive and impactful way. Leadership Academy, that really explores those foundations of leadership and personal strengths and what's your leadership style, and really looking at the impact that one individual can have on an organizational culture. And it is a big impact. Neighborhoods Rising is all about our Black and Latinx leaders and amplifying their voices. We have board leadership coming down the pipe, and we are so excited about that one. And that's about how can I really use my skill and expertise to be an effective board member. And that's so important in an area that has over 2,500 nonprofits. It's so important that we have an array of voices sitting at the board table, because there's so many big decisions being made. And so it's so important that everyone has a voice, so that every member of our community is being heard and that those decisions are being made together. So those are our main flagship programs that we're really proud of them.
Very good. And so after 10 years of working at MVCC, what makes you stay?
There are so, at the end of the day, it's about the people. It's the faculty and staff, and it's the students. Being able to see constantly being surrounded by diversity of thoughts and walks of life and experiences. That's really what makes me stay. And seeing that whenever we're developing a new program, whether it was something like the virtual disruption dialogues or innovation immersion, being able to call on people like the Rick Shorts and Greg Evans or Larry Gilroy's and Dave Manzelman's and saying, hey, we're thinking about doing this. Can we get your feedback? What should that look like? With Neighborhoods Rising, having people like Deetra Harvey from the United Way be such a solid influence and to help us facilitate something like that. Dave Mathis and Alice Savino, whenever we're working on any type of leadership training, we can reach out to them and ask them what the needs are in the community and make sure we're not missing anything. And it's the connections. It's not just their professional obligation where they feel like I have to help. It's, I love MVCC, I love CLE, I see the value, I see the impact. They can see it within their own teams and clients. And it all goes back to their personal connection, because so often I can't think of one meeting that I sit in where someone doesn't say, oh, MVCC, I'm an alumni, or my child's an alumni, or I take my kid to swim lessons there, or I attend events there. But everybody in this community has some sort of personal connection. And I think at the end of the day, that's why we see so many people connected to the college. Plus, I always say you cannot sit at a traffic light or a parking lot, and I will absolutely challenge anyone. You will see 10 MVCC faculty, staff, student parking lot stickers. You just, it's like you yourself. I won't know someone in the car next to me, but I think I'm already connected to them. They don't even know it.
Very good. Well, 75 years of connections. Thanks so much for helping MVCC celebrate 75 years.
My pleasure. Thank you.